You got spunk, kid.
Yeah.
I hate spunk.
Whoa.
Does this show go out in the UK? Doesn't matter. Sad to announce today the death of Ed Asmer at 91.
Oh, no.
Yes. A man who, let's face it, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I mean, like, he was quote unquote old, when he was achieving success on Mary Tyler Moore and on Lou Grant, but always just old,
There's some people who just have that.
That's
yes.
his look.
Yeah. Right.
He was probably like in his late 40s, early 50s, right? On Mary Tyler Moore.
Probably, yeah.
And he's like the mean old boss.
Yeah, right.
And then, guys like Wilford Brimley. Like Wilford Brimley was in his early 40s in Cocoon or something like that.
Wow.
You're just like, all right, well, there's going to be a type of role that you're going to get.
Right. You're just going to play the old guy.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Tom Cruise isn't the Tom Cruise of all the right moves, but still, I mean, like Tom Cruise is in his 60s, looks great. So.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Some people have kind of a baby face and some people have an old man face.
But he wore it well, even in animation when he was in the voice of the guy in Up.
Yes.
A role which was probably just written for him, right?
Probably.
You just go, get us an Ed Asner type. Wait a minute, we're Pixar. Get us Ed Asner.
Right. Get us a grumpy old man. Get us the grumpy old man.
One of my favorite roles, of course, was the grumpy old woman that he played on Justice League when he was the voice of Granny Goodness.
Ah, nice. That's cool.
Doesn't know how to react to that.
I didn't know he was the voice of Granny Goodness. That's okay. I guess we have to have Granny Goodness sound like a man.
Oh, come to Granny.
Yeah,
I can do it.
Yeah,
I'm not taking away from his talent.
No,
he really went for it.
Yeah,
and that's just like that describes him perfectly. Like he just went for it in everything that he did. He was, played Lou Grant forever, but I mean, and got a lot of accolades for that,
right.
But also, he just kept working, for his entire life. And he, did more TV, he was on CSI for a long time. He was like just on The Good Wife, like recently.
Really?
Yeah. Like, at the late age of 88, 89. And he was a guy that was serious about, his causes and political activism. And he was involved in activism within his own union and his,
That's cool.
his own industry.
Yeah,
because he, was involved in the SAG board and stuff like that. And
good for him.
Famously, when they were merging SAG-AFTRA, he and other actors did a lawsuit against the SAG board because they argued that it would ruin the healthcare plans, basically, of SAG people in this merger. And so, got support on that.
Do you know if it did, or because of their activism, they prevented it?
If I was a SAG-AFTRA member,
you would know.
I'd know.
Yeah, but that is cool that he did that. That's important stuff to do, and to stick up for things that you see.
Yeah.
That aren't right.
He was, and he's been an activist for healthcare, especially in California, for his entire life. And he was against AIDS denialism.
Good.
And
Fantastic.
did a documentary about that. Also, he was like, he was, he I don't know if he believed, but he was open to 9/11 conspiracy theories.
Oh, really?
But I mean, here's the thing.
Okay.
Here's the thing. Nobody argued any questions about 9/11 that was like a quote unquote normal mainstream person for like the first 2 years after 9/11. Right. Like everybody except for Bernie Sanders?
Maybe.
Or that one lady. Voted, let's go to war.
Yes.
Definitely. It was absolute. Colin, that's the best thing that I've ever seen. That's what great evidence. We're going to Iraq.
Right.
Forget about it.
Right.
No. We look back and we go, no, of course not. Of course not.
Yeah. No.
But he was the guy who was like, I don't care if I look bad. It's weird, and I want to know more about this, and people should be asking questions.
Well, and it's hard to disagree with him. I can't disagree with that argument.
Right. The only problem is that there's so many kooks out there that you can't get to the right answers. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the government covers a lot of that up too. So
covers what up?
Right, exactly.
No, I'm asking you. I want to know what you're getting out of this one-sided conversation.
No, I just mean, like, if you go searching for the truth, I think the government is going to prevent you from finding anything
About 9/11?
that other than what we've been told.
About 9/11.
Yes.
Specifically, you're saying about 9/11. Don't let me force you into this.
I
want to know if you're... Because you have this... That was a real pop idea about, like, pop conspiracyism. You're just, like, thinking that, like, oh, they don't tell us the truth about stuff.
Well, they don't tell us...
What do you think about Dr. Fauci? Forget Ed Asner. R.I.P. Let's move into this. What do you think about Dr. Fauci? You want him to tell you what to do?
What?
Look, I'm mad, I'm tired, and I'm sick. So I'm not going to do all the work this show, okay? You have to respond to me. And if you give me something lazy, I'm going to do what I'm doing right now, which we are going to finish, by the way.
I'm not trying to be lazy. I think Fauci is a respectable person who knows a lot about what he's talking about, although I think that there have been things that have come out that, like, maybe he hasn't necessarily been as truthful.
Which he admitted to.
Yes. Right. So
because there's political pressures involved in any posting of that level.
A lot of political
but I'm just
pressures.
saying that if we had made Ed Asner the advisor on COVID, he would have told the truth no matter what.
Oh, you think so? Because he didn't care? Okay.
Yeah, because he didn't care.
All right.
So anyway, all I'm saying is if there was one, and I don't really believe in a lot of 9/11 conspiracy theories, but if there was one I was going to believe, it would be Ed Asner.
Sure. What?
Oh my God.
What?
They got him.
Oh, stop it.
You have to wait. If you do it right away, of course he was right.
Oh, my goodness.
But let's wait. We're going to wait till he's 91.
No, come on.
Then we'll get him.
That's low, even for the government.
What if he doesn't? Oh, yeah, you think?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I do.
It's weird how Bernie Sanders has heart attacks on cue, isn't it?
Wow.
Hey, you want to do
the conspiracy theory
You
now?
want to do an episode, we can do it.
Yeah,
if
maybe.
there wasn't a Marvel bullshit thing to do every week, we could probably do something like that. We used to do stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh, look, I just got another notice. There's something
More
else
bullshit?
Marvel coming out.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Well, speaking of which, it's the Just Enough Trope podcast. I'm your host, Caliban, joined as always by my co-host.
Hi, I'm Mika Hana.
And we bring you all the Marvel bullshit that's fit to talk about in nerdy entertainment. And this week, that's Shang-Chi.
Yes.
In our run-up to the release of Shang-Chi next weekend.
Yes.
Where we will provide a review of the film from our hospital beds.
Oh, please.
We are making good on our promise to read some Shang-Chi comics.
Yes.
From the olden days.
Yes.
Older than me.
They're in the 70s.
Older than you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Old.
Yes.
Oldish. And definitely of their time. And we're going to talk about why.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a conspiracy.
No, I don't think so.
It's just racism.
It's a lot of racism.
We'll get there.
A lot of it.
We'll get there.
Mm-hmm. Some sexism too.
Yeah.
But,
Can't wait. Can't wait for this movie. No, it's actually like one of the good things about this film and what else?
MCU taking this story and
this is okay. Maybe there are no others.
It.
Maybe there are no others. Maybe this is the first time that the MCU has been able to do something good, which is take this kind of exciting idea about a character that is just steeped in so much bullshit and just rinse out the bullshit.
Yeah.
And you got a nice idea.
Yes. That sounds like what's happening to me.
There's literally nothing else?
About Shang-Chi? Or nothing else that they've done?
Heimdall being black? I guess it doesn't matter if Heimdall's black or not. I'm just saying, have they fixed anything else? Because like by the time they got to Captain Marvel, she was already quote unquote fixed by Kelly DeConnick in comics.
Right.
She didn't need fixing. I mean the whole who was that? Roy Thomas? Who wrote the Rape Baby?
I don't know who did it. I just know it happened.
Yeah.
And I'm mad about it. But...
So anyway, come on, we've seen like 28 of these films.
I know. I can't think of anything. I mean, do you think that they
who needs a new chair? You or me?
Both of us. Mine's noisy. Other than that, it's fine.
Mine is just,
Yours is
if
terrible.
I get quieter, it's because I'm sinking down away from the mic.
You're like, and I was another thing. Yeah.
Well, the studio has done yeoman's work during the pandemic. We've been in here quite a lot.
Yeah.
So maybe now that it's clearing up, we can get to an Office Max and replace some of this stuff.
Yeah.
And if you want to support us in our efforts to do that, we got 1 million Patreons. You can go check them out. We got patreon.com/justenoughtrope. We got Sailor Noob. We've got EIST Pod. if you want to contribute to the show, get us some chairs that don't make those noises, you can do that.
Yeah, and we'd really appreciate it too.
Hispanic? No, that's actually literally what is bad. I haven't done anything for Hispanics at all. Just make one character Hispanic.
Yeah.
Moon Knight. He is. They did.
Yeah, there you
They
go.
did it.
They did it.
It's on TV, but
Yeah.
still.
Yeah.
There, you made a Hispanic person.
That sounds terrible.
Well,
You made a
the
Hispanic
history of Marvel
person.
Comics has been pretty terrible in that regard.
I mean, do you think that they updated Luke Cage in a good way? I mean, that was TV, so I don't know how well people received the show overall. So, I don't know.
The problem with the Luke Cage thing
Yeah.
is that it was too. We're only at about 10 minutes here. It was too comic book and too social commentary at the same time. And
too much.
In a way that, like, in this realistic thing doesn't fit. If Luke Cage is just going through a wall looking for jive turkeys, and also he's, trying to fight drug dealers, or he's trying to fight elements of the community that are trying to pull everybody down, that's okay. But this is like, no, this is kind of serious. But also, we have to drive to Louisiana, to do an experiment to give me my powers back. And then I'm fighting Copperhead, in the middle of the street. And he's got like a metal helmet on and stuff. And it's just like, it's just a little...
It's too much.
It's a little weird.
Yeah.
And then they also crammed in all the amazing musical acts, but it's not a musical. Is it a musical show? Like every episode just stops like twice for 5 minutes to have the Temptations do something.
It's
and it's
cool
like,
they
it's
have the
neat,
musical acts,
yeah.
but it doesn't really work within the show.
Yeah, like if they had just done a little bit, and then maybe like those were on the DVD or like were extra, the full performance, you could find later.
Or you do an
if
episode
you were kind of turned on to it.
that it's like they do a show and there's a bunch of musical
And also
acts
just
in one
killing off
episode.
like the main villain halfway through, and then there's another villain was kind of dumb.
It was weird.
So anyway, it was the victim of that bad Loeb era of like writing. But I think it can work. I don't know if it needed to be fixed.
Yeah. What is the name? I can't. I
mean, fixing it would be having like a black person write it, and in the comics we've got that now.
That's true. What is the name of the Netflix show that didn't work, which I can't think of right now? Danny Rand.
Oh, Iron Fist?
Iron Fist. Here's how you fix Iron Fist. Make somebody else besides Danny Rand Iron Fist.
Well, we've
talked about that, right?
It's called Shang-Chi.
Well, that's true.
Or Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi.
This is an uphill battle.
Oh my gosh.
But we'll talk about it
when
we get to our feature. First, let's do the news. Well, speaking of Latinx actors in Disney properties, it looks like Disney is trying to find an actor for a Halloween special on Disney Plus. They're looking for a Latino actor.
Okay.
Or Latinx actor. Come on, Variety, get your things right.
Right.
And that's it.
No. Okay.
No, hold on. Just hold on.
All right.
Variety then just goes on a run and just starts speculating on stuff.
Wow.
This is actually the Wrap. So you would go from Variety to like, okay, to the Wrap. Okay. And then original source, bounding into comics. Interesting. No, I'm just kidding. It stops, It stops at the Wrap. But the Wrap often is questionable. They don't know what they're talking about.
Okay.
But they reported this, and they said that reportedly the studio is looking for a Latin male in his 30s to be in this Hollywood special, which will air next Halloween.
Okay.
And individuals with knowledge, and here we go, say the character might be based on Werewolf by Night.
Okay. Tell me more about that character, Werewolf by Night.
He, when the sun goes down,
turns into a werewolf.
Becomes a werewolf.
Okay. That's all you need to know? All right.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Every night? That would suck.
There are two versions that really, there's only two versions that really matter. The first is Jack Russell. Look, take it up with Jerry Conway. Apparently he didn't know that Jack Russell was a dog breed before he named his dog-based character.
Sorry, I'm just imagining somebody turned into a Jack Russell Terrier werewolf.
Although when he named it that, you could, I'm sure that Marv Wolfman was probably like, not bad.
He tips his hat.
I know, I am the original Wolfman. That's
yeah,
taken.
right.
But Jack Russell's pretty good. And that guy's just like, he's a werewolf. Basically.
Yeah. Okay.
He's they're kind of like mutants. The lycanthropes are like their own like human species or whatever. It's play down the mystical stuff because it's Marvel, but it's also came out in the 70s to take advantage of like the grindhouse film type stuff, and we're going to talk about that when we get to Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
And the only thing really notable about it is that Moon Knight first appeared in Werewolf by Night. But there was a second version of the character, which was developed later, that was a Native American character.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It is interesting. I guess if you're Native American, even if you're like Native American, he was part of the Hopi tribe, so it's like Southwest Native American. That's not really Latino, is it?
No, that's something your Native American.
They should be looking for a Native American actor.
Yeah.
Oh God, Jesus Christ!
I sorry.
So why is it? How is it this tough for everybody?
I don't know, man. So.
I haven't read it. I know the character's name is Gomez, so I don't know. Maybe he's he's half and half or something. I don't know. But the point is, they're looking for this. So.
Okay. All right.
This is just like, remember the salad days? We should have wrapped it up. Endgame, we should have just gave our review.
And we're done.
And then you just hear 2 gunshots, right?
Oh my gosh.
Because now we're in the time where every scoop is just a huge letdown. Yeah. There's no more of this like, no, there's going to be 2. Infinity War and then a second film, as yet unnamed. And Thanos is the bad guy.
Oh my
Check
God.
this out. Yeah. No,
great.
we don't have that anymore.
No.
So anyway, there's that. So, there's more Disney Plus shows in the works. I kind of think that they need to like get the ones that they've already talked about out.
That's
I haven't
kind
heard
of
anything about that She-Hulk show in a while.
No.
Although I know they're supposed to be working on it.
Yeah.
So would like to see some more information about that stuff, but we were just complaining about
too much Marvel.
Latinx, or I guess mestizo representation.
Right.
And so we're going to get that.
Okay. All right.
Can you say mestizo?
I have no idea.
All the words they taught us in school, you can't say anymore. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying that my schooling
let us down.
Yes, it failed to prepare me for quite a lot.
Yes, I would agree with that.
So anyway, looking forward to that. I hope it's spooky. I hope they really spook it up.
Yeah, that'd be nice. So it's a Marvel Halloween special.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not going to be a show. It's just going to be a special.
Interesting.
Mobius doesn't look spooky.
You don't think so?
No.
I think he looks creepy.
Right, but it's just like a horror thing. There's
it's
horror isn't
it's
like
horror.
Yeah, it's not like a because he's also a I have a disease vampire, not like I was cursed by God to walk the earth vampire.
Right. He's not as cool.
More Blade, less Coppola.
Yeah, but he's not as cool as Blade. Sorry. I mean, maybe the movie will prove me wrong, but I don't know. I just don't get the feeling he's not as cool as Blade.
Well, speaking of black vampires, did you know that Jacob Anderson, who portrayed Grey Worm in Game of Thrones, will be playing Louis for the new Interview with the Vampire series on AMC?
Huh. Okay. That's cool. I feel like before I watch that or try watching that, I need to watch the original Interview with the Vampire because I haven't seen it.
It's all right.
Yeah.
So this is interesting. I've only seen him like not act in Game of Thrones, so I'm sure he can act, but hey, I haven't seen it yet.
Right.
But hopefully he can prove us all wrong. I think it's really interesting that all of Anne Rice's vampire books are connected to New Orleans, where she lives, and so, and I bet it's been pretty white up to this point, although I'm sure that she's tried to branch out a little. So it's very interesting to see a black character.
I would agree with that.
Who will bring all the baggage of slavery in the Caribbean. Yes. I think this character, I don't know if this is always the character's bio, but he will be an emigre to New Orleans from somewhere else, in the Caribbean.
That's interesting. Do you know, you may or may not know the answer to this, is Anne Rice working on the show at all in any capacity?
I doubt it. I seriously doubt it.
She went through some weird stuff, right? Where she became, I shouldn't say weird stuff. She wrote these vampire books and made a lot of money, and then she kind of became religious again.
I think you're thinking of Bob Dylan.
No.
What I'm saying is that Bob Dylan came out of it, so I'm sure she can come out of it too.
Okay. All right. Maybe she came out the other side and she's fine too. I don't know. Anyways, if you're born again, you're born again, but it's kind of hard when you hate your own work, right?
Well, hate is an interesting, way to look at it. I think that she wrote like some like time traveling, like Bible, like some super book books.
Okay.
Where like characters were somehow involved in like biblical events. And so
Interesting.
Look, that woman is a writer.
She is.
To the bone. So
yeah.
It didn't slow her down at all.
No.
But it's not, people are getting excited about Brad Pitt in a movie and then they go to the newsstand and it's like, what? Jesus is doing what?
What is she doing now? yeah,
so
exactly.
Not the perfect time to make that change, but it's her career.
Yeah. Okay, well, I think that's cool. That's a good change, I think. So, hopefully that show will be good.
Get him into the Marvel Universe.
Yeah, there you go.
Speaking of the Marvel Universe, Letitia Wright was hospitalized after a stunt accident on Black Panther: Wakanda Forever.
Oh no, is she okay?
Yes, she is okay.
Okay, good.
That's just a sensational headline. She got minor injuries filming a stunt. There was a problem with the stunt rig, and she was released from the hospital. And she's okay. So no word on delays. Of course, that doesn't matter compared to her being okay. But yeah, I think that she is okay. Again, just, the headline is the story. So we don't really know anything else.
Well, and it's scary. Like on the one hand, I think it's cool that actors want to do more of their own stunts.
With computers, why do we ever need anybody to do anything? You think that ScarJo even pulls on the black leather anymore? No, right?
I don't know, man.
She's not off fighting Taskmaster. That's somebody else. And then they just, they haven't, first of all, they have an unlimited range of stunt actresses to pick from. So they pick one with a similar body type and facial features, and then a couple little computer tweaks, and then that's it, right?
I guess.
And it's not, I'm not impugning her as a performer at all. I know that she works really hard, but she's not doing the Keanu Reeves thing where he goes out and trains on a ranch for 6 months and sleeps with his gun. For John Wick.
Know.
We're not doing that.
I don't know.
Why would you? Why would you do that?
Yeah.
They don't even allow the directors to direct the action scenes. They bring in a second unit to do all that for them. Those things are so effects heavy that they are locked like 18 months before you even like have a table read.
I actually think it's smart though that
so anyway, they
have
hurt one of their
else.
actresses.
Yeah.
Which is something that you don't hear a lot about on Marvel Productions.
No.
Does this mean that she has a bigger action role?
Maybe, because it's not like we really saw Shuri do a whole lot of heavy action before. I mean, she was fighting people and stuff like that, but she was also like trying to get the jewel out of, Vision's head, and she was doing other important things that weren't like physical or actual fighting. So probably would be my guess, because they're pretty early on in filming that, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah. I think that is probably a pretty good hint that that's what's going on.
Yeah. That or like, they're filming the scene where a bomb goes off and she's thrown across the room and dies.
Oh, stop it.
But I hope not.
No, I don't think so.
Let's talk about our next story. I haven't picked anything. I just wanted to be pat on the head for not making any anti-vax jokes throughout that entire thing. Oops, I kind of did right there.
Yeah, you did.
Let's go to Nirvana, baby. And I mean the Nirvana baby.
Yes.
Who is suing the band, alleging that the cover of their album, Nevermind, which he featured on over 25 years ago.
Mm-hmm. So it's over, I think it's 30th anniversary.
It's about 30 years.
Yeah.
Violates child pornography laws. Uh-huh. In which case, anybody, all grandmas who, I guess they'd be grandmas now because all pictures are digital, right? But any mother who has any pictures of her children innocently, cutely taking baths are pornographers. So go out on your front porch, wait for the cops to come.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a little much. I heard that like he was saying that it's like pornography because it's like the baby is chasing after the money. And
what does
it's
that have
naked.
To do with, well, I mean, I guess.
Because it's money and he's naked.
Right. And is he doing a sex act?
No, there's no sex act.
Plus, he didn't get that money. His parents got it, and it was $200. Also, I guess he doesn't know what a metaphor is, so that's kind of fun. The funnest part is that he is basically suing the band. You can't sue Kurt Cobain, but you can sue Courtney Love.
Yeah.
The estate, the record executives, basically anybody whose name is on the back CD case, on the jewel case of
who took it.
Yes, he's suing everybody
photo.
for $150,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it doesn't even seem like that much when you say it.
That's a lot of money.
Oh, you think it's a lot? Yeah, I guess it is.
No, it isn't.
No. Why didn't he ask for more?
Because
it's a ridiculous
the other
thing in
story
the first place.
is a couple months ago, or a little while ago. Now we go into the rap territory because I'm not studied up on this, but I did read an article. He asked Dave Grohl for some money because he is an artist and he wanted to develop a thing or something like that. And Dave Grohl's like, no, I'm not going to give you that money. Why don't you take another picture of yourself in a pool, which he has done 6 or 7 times over the years. I don't, if some wrong has been done to a child and, whatever they do after that doesn't take away the wrong that has been done, but no wrong has been done. Also, it's such an uphill battle because suddenly there's going to, I don't know. I think it's interesting because, I'm sorry he feels this way. I don't think that anything was done wrong to him. This is one picture that I guess a lot of people have seen. So I guess if he's uncomfortable about that and he didn't have a choice in that when he was a kid, sue your parents, man. Just sue your parents. You know what I'm saying? For $200.
Yeah, right.
But if this would ever work, it would be right now when we are cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs over supposed child pornography.
Yeah.
Which is really just like pushes from, here's my Ed Asner conspiracy, pushes from data companies to get more control over, our viewing habits and stuff like that under the guise of like, we need to protect it. Like Apple wants to look at all of our pictures in the cloud because they're going to scan them for child pornography. And it's like,
no,
here's the thing, guys. You sold us a camera that takes pictures.
Yeah.
And when I sign the check and it goes through, then I can do whatever I want with it.
Yes.
Now, phase 2, you maintain a service where I can store my photos.
Yeah.
You're the richest company in the world, and you can't come up that user agreement that's longer than a CVS receipt.
Yes.
You don't have any language in there where you're not. I'm positive you have language in there where you're not responsible for whatever's on there.
Probably.
How could you be?
Yeah.
But yet supposedly it's, for liability and because, iCloud is like 40% of the world's child porn is in iCloud. It's like, no, you want to scan all my photos to see if I've got Doritos or not so you can like sell me Doritos. Like that's what you want. You want to invade my privacy and I'm not doing anything wrong.
No.
I'm not a libertarian, but geez, I get kind of close. Things like this. Oh, full disclosure, not an Apple user. So
no.
It doesn't touch me at all.
But it makes me mad that they want to be able to do that. It's so, it's so obvious that that's what they're doing, that they just want to try to sell us things.
Apple or Spencer?
Apple.
Okay. Because I think Spencer, what he's doing is kind of obvious too.
Yeah.
It's called GoFundMe, man. Just take care
do
of
that.
You can get that money.
I heard that he, like you were saying, feels kind of weird about the photo and maybe he's gone through some therapy and stuff like that. But he has done the photos and everything too.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
How do you think the little girl who got burned by napalm feels?
Yeah. Oh God, so much worse.
Well,
so much worse.
You can't compare anybody's pain. I understand that. But I'm just saying, it's, I don't know. If it's 100, you know what? Dave Grohl can just write the check right there. Just go, okay. Tell you what, I'm not going to admit any wrongdoing, but here's your little check.
Yeah.
But don't come, when you're 35 and say that.
You need another check.
Worse.
Yeah. Right. It's kind of ridiculous, but
feels like you're being held hostage.
Yeah. Do you think that everybody who has that album is now they own child pornography?
That's why he'll never win, because that would make all of us, 17 times platinum or whatever. It would make millions of people.
I owned that album.
Pedophiles.
Yeah.
And that's just not true. So.
Yeah.
Speaking of being held hostage, Netflix continues to hold hostage the beloved IP of Cowboy Bebop, and they've released some of the first look photos of John Cho and the rest of the cast as the characters from the show.
Yes. I don't know how to feel about it, if I'm honest. Nothing against John Cho. I think I'm not completely convinced that he is Spike, even though he has the hair and the clothes.
The hair looks bad.
I think it kind of does too.
The hair looks bad.
It
They
doesn't.
should have just given him regular hair.
Yeah, I think they're trying too hard. But
I mean, there is one photo where it looks like they might be filming or at least rehearsing because you see a stuntman's head on the ground. Otherwise, I would just say clearly these are just promo pics taken
right
on set and in costume.
Yeah.
But have shot a lot of it. I don't know when these pictures are taken, so I'm pretty sure at least for the first couple episodes, that's the hair.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't.
Why does he have long hair and then Faye's got short hair? I guess Faye had short hair.
Faye had short hair, and yeah. People are mad about Faye's outfit too, and the thing is, like it. I know, but her outfit, it would be next to impossible for an actor to like wear a jacket around their elbows and walk around and move around in a plausible way, I think. Don't you think?
But Faye had that, like, it was short in the back, but it
kind of curved. It looked different.
Yeah.
It did look different.
Yeah. Yes, I agree with whatever you said. So here's the deal. They look like good cosplay photos.
That's kind of how
you know how we complain that like shows change things too much when they adapt them? Mm-hmm. They should have changed more. It just looks like
Make
they tried.
Make it their own.
Yeah, it looks like they tried to. There's nothing practical about the suit that Spike wears in the cartoon. No, it's stylized.
It's cool.
And so, how's Shang-Chi going to fight in that? You know, clearly not well. Hurt his leg. So yeah, I mean, like I said, they just look like good cosplay photos. Part 2, are these the sets? They're gonna like filter this Instagram filter, CG background stuff, right? The sets look like just real cheap.
Yeah,
and I'm sure they're gonna like, you know, totally chop and screw them in Premiere Pro or whatever.
I would think so. Yeah, I mean, Ein looks good. They've got a.
Shiba Inu.
No. What's the name? Why can't I?
I got it and I didn't have it. This is where we're at.
This is bad.
All right, I changed my mind. Don't give us any money at Patreon.
Hey.
It's a corgi, and also
thank you, God.
Because what's their here's the deal. What's their aesthetic? I don't know. Cowboy Bebop has a very weird aesthetic because every single episode they are in the desert, or they're driving space trucks, or they're on a
gambling and a
Mexican,
casino.
space station. Yeah, or they're a casino.
Yeah.
And it isn't very stylized for all that. I mean, the art has a certain style, but they're not doing like a lot of like lighting type stuff necessarily. They're not. I'd call it TV lighting for anime. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's kind of, they want you to see all the good art and everything. They're not trying to do too much. So like, what's the visual aesthetic going to be here? Because you hear cyberpunk and immediately everything's neon, right?
Yes.
They even did that with Altered Carbon, which was only ever really trying to sell to a cyberpunk loving audience. Mm-hmm. But there's nothing in the books that really say that Altered Carbon has to look like, Harrison Ford's Blade Runner.
Yeah.
But I can't tell what it is, but it seems a little darkish, and I'm just assuming that they're doing that, right?
It seems very dark. And I think we do see one sign for that one bar that is in neon. But yeah, maybe they're just too painstakingly trying to recreate what we see in the show. Like I don't remember seeing a whole lot of close-ups of the ship, but I think there are some. Like there's one that's like behind John Cho's head, and he's like on one of the couches or something like that. And they wanted you to see the interior of the ship and how close it looks like the anime and everything too. I mean, what are they going to do for the story too? Like, is it going to be just like the anime, or is it going to try to do something different?
Yes, it's going to be just like the anime.
Okay. All right.
I don't know how many episodes there are. You just pick the best manga episodes and you try to recreate them.
Yeah, right.
So the one where, can we get away with shooting a kid in the face and on Netflix? Yeah, you can get away with anything on Netflix.
You can, actually.
So you pick that one. The kid plays a harmonica and you shoot him in the face. Uh-huh. You pick the mushroom one. Uh-huh. That goes easy on the sets department, I guess, because it's all CG.
Sure.
What else do? You do the one with Jet's backstory. Do the one with Faye's backstory.
You do the one where the lady, it seems like she's pregnant, but really she has little red vials.
That's the very first episode.
I know.
I'm positive they're going to do that.
Yeah.
Because we've already seen him practicing with his kung fu practice thing.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is a big part of that episode.
Yeah.
Do the sea turtle one or the sea mongoose?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right. What?
I don't
know. What could you
know.
possibly get out of that? What am I talking about?
I don't know. I don't know.
There's an eco-terrorist one where they're trying to protect the Venetian sea turtles or something like that.
Okay.
Don't say yeah, like you know what I'm talking about. You are denigrating my craziness, okay?
I'm sorry.
I am way crazier than that.
I'm sorry.
I don't think you can follow me.
Okay.
My crazy logic. There's no way you can. How about the Heavy Metal Queen? Do the trucker one.
Yeah. How hard would that be? As far as sets and everything go. I mean, they're like Ed isn't cast yet, so they're doing stuff this before Ed, right?
Ed's cast.
Ed's cast? I thought that was the big thing, that Ed wasn't cast yet. We haven't seen Ed in any of the photos.
One of the reasons that you're never ready to record is because you read these articles all the way, and so I trust you when you say that Ed has not been cast.
I don't recall Ed being cast, and I think that some people are upset about that. So
I'm upset about that, but then again, if I was a Netflix executive, I'd be like, "Well, let's see a kid."
Yeah, right. So. Maybe Ed will be cast for next season. I don't know.
Maybe I can trade you Ed for Faye's legs.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, look, I'm just, it's a style, it's a noir.
Yeah.
And I'm all for giving ladies pants, but there's a certain thing that defines this character. Is she just going to be tough action chick now?
Maybe.
Well, okay, then give me Spike's legs. Put him in shorts.
Sure.
I need somebody's legs, is what I'm saying. Let's talk about The Matrix.
Yes.
The Matrix 4.
Oh my goodness.
Has a title.
Okay, what's the title?
Matrix Resurrections.
Okay, I mean, I guess I could have guessed it was starting with an R-E, but all right.
Here's an exclusive first clip.
Oh, yeah?
It's not available online.
Oh.
But here's what happens in the clip.
Okay.
It begins with a very glossy-looking city.
Okay.
What does that mean?
In
a magazine?
Wet? I don't know.
A psychiatrist, Neil Patrick Harris, oh boy, is sitting with a patient named Thomas. Thomas is Reeves, and he's having a problem. Mm-hmm. We know that he's Thomas Anderson. We know that that's Reeves.
Right.
He's saying he's having dreams that aren't quite dreams. This sounds terrible. We see him walking down the street with the green Matrix code. Am I crazy? He asks. Terrible, Keanu. We don't say that, the doctor replies. That's true, we don't. I've said that a couple times already. Sorry. Thomas is then sitting in a bathtub with a rubber duck on his head.
Really?
I didn't have to pause, but I wanted to. He walks into a coffee shop and greets Trinity. Have we met? She asks as they shake hands. Okay. This recap is by somebody at Gizmodo. You know what? Let's put him on blast. Jermaine Lussier, who writes a lot of stuff at Gizmodo, learn to recap videos better.
That's just terrible.
It must be better than this, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, that's awful. So it looks like they're just going to do it all over again. They got plugged back into the Matrix. They forgot who they were, and here they are. They're back in the Matrix.
This is the great idea. Why we have to do another Matrix movie?
It's a hit parade of people coming back. Jada Pinkett Smith returns. Lambert Wilson returns as the Merovingian. Daniel Bernhardt returns as Agent Johnson. Then you've also got actors like Priyanka Chopra.
Okay, sure.
Because why not? Jonathan Groff, Jessica Henwick, Indira Ibarra, who's on Ingobernable.
What? What is that?
Mexican Netflix. You got to go through it sometime.
Okay.
Christina Ricci, because why not?
All right. Okay. I think I'd heard she was in this for some reason.
Lachana, she's a Wachowski girl, right?
Yeah. Right.
Lana Wachowski is directing and co-writing this. No Lily.
Okay.
No Lily.
Okay.
Do you want to know why Lily was not in it?
Yeah.
She explained that.
Oh, God. Okay.
She explained that in an interview at Showtime's TCA panel.
Okay.
And she says, I don't want to go backwards and be part of something I've done before. She's gone through her transition. She's come through this massive upheaval in her life.
Yes.
Also, she lost her mom and dad since the show's come out. And so she just didn't want to go back to Matrix head. She's happy where she is now. And I totally understand that.
I totally understand that.
Also,
it's kind of interesting that
maybe she's got enough money. She's like, why would I do Matrix? Why would anybody do Matrix 4?
Yeah.
Except for money.
Yeah.
Until they do a Models Inc. reboot, then, Carrie Ann Moss will have something she can do.
Oh my God.
How does she get out of Mexico? The finale of Models Inc. Last scene. I think it's Carrie Ann Moss's character. They're all models at an agency, right? But a lot of things are going on at this agency.
Of course.
And so she is knocked out and put in a trunk. And a couple scenes happen, so hopefully wrapping some stuff up. Last episode of the show. In the very last episode, she wakes up. She's tied to a chair. She's in a dingy room with women who they're clearly prostitutes. And she's like, where am I? And one of them says, welcome to hell, bitch.
What?
That's the last episode of Models Inc.
That is not what I would have predicted at all.
Does she get out of hell?
Gosh, I hope
Come
so.
on, AMC. It's time to find out.
Wow.
Give me your perfect watching Matrix Resurrections on a Sunday.
I mean, I let's not do the Matrix Reborn again. We're doing the same thing again.
They rejected that title. It's going to be Resurrection.
I know it's going to be Resurrection, but I just don't.
What do you want from a Matrix 4?
Something different. Let's not retread the same.
Ooh, I don't think that's on the menu. I'll have to check. No, I just checked in the back. It's not different. It's not there.
Yeah, I got that. But
do you want?
Does anybody want that anymore? I mean, that's so 90s, early 2000s.
So look, even one Wachowski is better than a lot of action directors.
Yes.
What's their new thing? What are they going to do? Because the Gap commercial was the first one, right?
Yes.
And they did that to death into the ground.
Yes.
So what's the new action scene innovation that they're going to do?
Wow, that's a really good question that I don't know if I know the answer to. Are they going to be pulled into something
because Christopher Nolan stole going backwards. We've got that now.
Going sideways? I don't know.
The movie stops. You have to get up, go to another theater, in the theater,
right?
Sit down. Movie continues. For a while. Gotta get up.
Move to another theater. Yeah.
I mean, you've got. So what is the? Okay, why am I helping you with this? You've got everything. It freezes.
Yes.
And then you move to another. It's really dumb when you think about it. No, don't get me wrong. It's enjoyable, but it's it moved to other place. Camera not do that usually in movie.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
Yes.
Unless it's Scary Movie and they're just faking it because they just lift Anna Faris up and then they just move the camera on a dolly.
Right.
Like they're using those computers.
Right.
But for some, that was somebody looked at, whoever did that Gap commercial, and the sad thing is we'll never know that person's name.
Yeah, that's true.
Whoever did that looked at film and went, it's so static. I don't want gorillas in 3D coming at me, but yet what if you saw it from another side? And how would we achieve that? Mm-hmm. And can we write some software? Right? They thought about it in a different way.
Yes.
Christopher Nolan looked at film and went, we always go one way. Why aren't we going the other way?
Yeah.
And he proved why with his movie Tenet. So what's the new thing? And I think it's going sideways. I think you might be onto something. Not that specifically, but that idea.
Yeah.
I don't know. We're not innovators in the film space, so we can't come up with it. But it's got to be something. That's all I want.
Do you think
they're going to kick things? They're going to go do the Khmer move.
Yes.
There'll be parts in the outside world that nobody cares about because they just want to get back to the kung fu.
Right.
And a cat will come by twice. They'll do all that stuff. But
I've got a question.
Yeah.
The Matrix films, were they Fox?
Yes.
Okay.
No. They were Warner Brothers.
Oh, okay.
No, they're Fox.
Because I was going to say, if they're Fox and they're owned by Disney, are they going to use something like the
Trinity's
volume?
a Disney princess.
Yeah, Trinity's a Disney princess, but are they going to use
they are Warner Brothers.
Oh, okay. I was wondering if they would use the technology the volume like they do in the Mandalorian.
In fact, Neo was probably in Space Jam. I didn't see it.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. That's probably a character they would have in Space Jam. Yeah. Okay.
Everybody get up.
So.
It's time to slam now.
I know Kung Fu.
Yeah.
The basketball comes towards him and he just does a Kung Fu chop at the basketball.
Let's not write it for them.
Okay.
You know what the Matrix needs? A mascot. Somebody cute to drink while I'm talking.
Okay. Sorry. Somebody.
Hold on. Let me just get a little.
Okay. Well, I think you have made your point. Jeez.
This is how the soaking wet sausage is made. Because in the first one, you've got Mouse. He is brutally murdered. Not necessarily to motivate anybody to do anything, but just to show you that this is real. This world's real.
This is real.
Yeah. And then in the second movie, you've got the kid, who is a plot line that never ever really. You have to first of all, you have to watch the Animatrix to know what the hell's going on, and second of all, it doesn't really go anywhere.
Okay.
And this is that kid who Neo like freed from the Matrix.
Sure.
And so he's running around and he's fighting in the robot suits or whatever.
Right.
Those aren't very good movies, are they?
I really like.
That's another thing about it.
I like the first one.
Not great, but they have problems way beyond a rave scene that would not look out of place in like a mid-period Janet Jackson video.
Right.
If that was a Janet Jackson video, nobody would have said shit. But because it came in a movie about kung fu and free your mind, people are like, "Whoa."
Yeah.
What
if like there was like a mascot that was like a cute little animal, but it was made up of like bright green numbers, like
a Mr. DNA, only he's made of code.
Yeah, right.
And his name is
I'm
Debian. No.
DNA son? I don't know.
These are codes, right?
Oh,
so Fortran, right?
Oh.
I'm Mr. Fortran.
Yeah.
I'm C++.
Yeah, right. Ruby on Rails.
I'm Ruby on Choo-Choo.
Yeah, right. It's a little train. I kind of like that. Or
I don't know.
Python, it's like a snake, and it's kind of creepy.
Well, that's pretty basic. Times change.
They do.
Attitudes change.
Yes.
The arc of history is long.
It is.
Indistinguishable from infinity, it feels like sometimes, but it leads to justice. So when you have something that was super popular in the past, somebody now is going to want to remake it.
True.
The problem with stuff from the past, it's often very racist. So if you want to update it, what's the answer? How do you do that? In a specific case, you could just turn it over to the people that it's supposed to represent.
Yes.
So if it's a story about Asian people, you let Asian people control it.
Yes.
There's probably a really bad example of that, how that wouldn't work at all. What's the most racist hero of old? There's probably a lot of like, well, no, it's happening. It's already happened. Lovecraft Country.
Oh, yeah.
You have black creators and writers.
Yes.
Do Lovecraft Country.
Right.
And then it gets canceled.
Well, the lady who directed the live action Mulan,
Mulan is
a white lady.
So old.
It's so old.
It's a Chinese story.
I know.
It's already their tale.
I know.
We were the ones that put Donny Osmond in it. That is our sin.
I know.
Well, we can't think of any better examples. So let's just talk about Shang-Chi.
All right. Sounds good.
A character created for Marvel Comics. Really 100% intended to cash in on the then karate movie boom. As we talked about last week with Sonny Chiba. Ushered in mainly by Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
And the character's appearance in a lot of ways was based on Bruce Lee. Marvel Comics wanted to make a kung fu show.
Oh.
They wanted to make, so they did license stuff. It's one of their they got, Star Wars would be later in the decade, but they made a lot of money doing Star Wars comics. And they wanted to get ahead of it and just do a comic book version of Kung Fu. I mean, starring David Carradine.
Right.
And that Kung Fu is like The Matrix, a Warner Brothers joint. So the answer was no.
Yeah, right.
Because DC is owned by Warner.
Yeah.
And so Marvel's like, I'll do it myself.
Yeah.
And they got the rights to the character of Dr. Fu Manchu, created by Sax Rohmer.
Okay.
Sax Rohmer was a British author. He wrote, around the turn of last century. I can't, whatever the counts of the centuries are, but anyway.
Right.
Like, for instance, some of his books came out in, the 30s, 40s, that sort of thing.
Sure.
And they were books. He might have done some pulp stuff, but he mainly, he wrote books. This wasn't just in magazines.
Sure.
And one of his characters was the character of Fu Manchu, who was a Asian crime lord.
Yep.
And there was a thing back then, I guess with Cruella and things like that, you've got it now, but where people wanted stories about bad guys. So characters like Dr. Mabuza or Fu Manchu or Robur the Aviator.
I mean, does Jekyll and Hyde count?
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
No, it doesn't at all. It'd be like if Lex Luthor had his own comic book.
Sure.
Because I don't know why. It was like bad guy who was kind of like the hero, like he's an anti-hero. He's the villain in the story, and he's chased around by well-meaning but usually incompetent people.
Right.
So it'd be like if Moriarty was the hero of the Sherlock Holmes novels.
Sure. Or Loki, probably too.
Yeah, Loki. Yeah, not Loki.
Not Loki?
No.
Loki's
this year was really
anti-hero.
good for Loki. Loki's been losing for 65 years.
Okay.
He never wins.
All right.
But yeah, maybe young Loki. I don't know.
Sure.
And so anyway, so this character Fu Manchu, they bought that character and they went, okay, here's what we'll do. We'll have that character be the father of a new character, a character named Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
A character who was raised to become an assassin.
Yes.
By his father, and would be sent out into the world to do his father's work, believing that, his father was tough but fair. Was a man whose dream involved ruling the world to make it better. And after his first murder, he realizes that his father was wrong.
Murder.
Oh, man, if only I'd a couple seconds before.
Yeah.
And dedicates his life to stopping his father. Now, as I was reading this, I was like, wow, that's Cassandra Cain Batgirl, isn't it? That's exactly who Cassandra Cain is.
Yeah.
Raised by her father, an anti-hero who is in this case an assassin instead of like a mastermind.
Right.
Raised to be the perfect assassin, sent off to do her first kill, does it, realizes, that it's horrible, and then devotes her life to trying to atone for the thing that she did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Only Shang-Chi's a man and she was a child. So he's a little more responsible for what he did.
Yeah, that's true.
A lot of the side characters in the comic are all taken from the books, like Dennis Nayland Smith, the British officer who has been trying to track down Fu Manchu for all these years.
Yes.
There are other characters that we don't really get to in the stuff that we read. But now a lot of those characters they had to stop using because eventually Marvel lost the comic book rights to Fu Manchu. So I don't know if Fu Manchu is in some other comic, but they can't use that anymore. Apparently the Sax Rohmer estate is still up and going. I mean, the guy only died in the late 50s.
Huh. Interesting.
So instead of just getting rid of the character, although the character's not used much, they did a comic book thing.
Yeah.
And they told Ed Brubaker to fix all this. Fix this. I'll be back after lunch. Close the door. Ed Brubaker sitting in the dark. Got to fix everything. And Ed Brubaker, I don't know how they got away with using Fu Manchu in this one. Maybe they paid for one issue. But basically they said that Fu Manchu was also just an alias. He's a man of many aliases anyway. He's actually a ancient warlord named Zhengze, who comes from ancient times. And we know that in the Marvel Comics, he has this thing called the oil of life or whatever that he takes to remain forever young. And people are speculating that, MCU has tried to clip even more corners out by just saying he's the Mandarin. Let's redeem two properties with one punch.
Right.
But a lot of people are theorizing that Tony Liang's character
Yeah.
is Zhang Se.
Okay. Okay. All right. So he is the Fu Manchu character.
Well, he's definitely.
not-
I doubt they'll ever say Fu Manchu
I don't think that they
in
will.
the movie.
I don't think they will. Yeah.
But he can't just be called the Mandarin, right? Now it remains to be seen if Simu Liu's character will be half American, like Shang-Chi is.
I was really surprised by that, and
Really?
well,
Really? Did you think that Steve Englehart and Jim Starlin were going to go, nobody wants to watch a Chinese guy? What if he's a Chinese-American guy?
That's immediately what I thought when I first, read that in the comic. But I was like, maybe they thought that's what they could get away with, or like that's what people would believe in the 70s, which is kind of upsetting. I mean, so we're throwing the race thing in there again. It's just going to come up a lot with this comic. There's no real escaping it. And
we see his mother in one of the issues, in the first
briefly.
issue. But yeah, it's very brief, and there is no indication of like, is she down with what Fu Manchu is trying to do and rule the world, or was she somebody that was seduced by him? She does essentially say that she was seduced by him. And I think as it goes on, Shang-Chi finds out that he's got other like half siblings because Fu Manchu has just done this. He's just like used his network of spies to find,
beautiful
women who are perfect for, his legacy.
His breeding purposes.
Say. Yeah.
Gross.
And so this is, he has other sort of brothers and sisters.
Well, she says something like, she knew what he was after from her, like when she met him.
Right, but
she
she's like,
wanted the power for her kid.
Right.
I'm like,
and she's like, he was in those shorts. He was looking good.
Yeah, right. And I'm like, and he's like, Mother, how could you be okay with this? And he was like, and then she says
like,
that.
shorts.
Yeah, right. Did I tell you about the shorts? Did I mention the shorts? Oh, the shorts. Here's a picture of the shorts. But then he's like, oh, and then that child was me. And then he just like leaves the room and he doesn't think of it.
We got other stuff to do.
I know. And I
got a best friend to kill.
I know.
We'll get to it. So he's had kind of a tortured publishing history. He came about in the 70s when still a lot of issues or comic runs were not dedicated to one thing necessarily. Mm-hmm. He appeared in Marvel Special Edition, which was just like featuring 1 and 2
different
shots.
Characters. Yeah.
And Shang-Chi was successful enough that they just basically made it into, this is just the Shang-Chi book now.
Yeah.
They keep the same numbering.
Okay.
And that went on for a good long while, for over 100 issues. And then he would appear in a couple of the giant-sized like magazines that they did back then that were like for slightly more adult readers.
Sure.
And he would just tussle with all the Iron Fist, White Tiger, all the kung fu people in the kung fu world.
Right.
He had a resurgence recently. He did have a Max miniseries in the 90s.
Okay.
And
which is their more adult series.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. We'll talk about it someday.
Okay.
We could read all the Max. There aren't that many Max titles. We should do it. And then, of course, I talked about how I think it was in the 2010s, Ed Brubaker sort of rewrote his background.
Okay.
To put him in Secret Avengers. And then Hickman put him in the Avengers for his huge Avengers saga leading up to Secret War.
So do you think that that's what we're going to get with Shang-Chi in this movie? Do you think that eventually he will be part of the new Avengers moving forward?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because as we both agreed, he's going to get those rings off of his dad.
Yeah.
And once he can
happening.
freeze people and set people on fire, then he's an Avenger.
Yeah.
I feel like we've had 2 karate Avengers, one with a gun and a pair of thighs and the other with a bow.
Yeah.
So I don't know why the best karate guy ever that could make Iron Fist look like a bitch can't just, and also can do some chi stuff. He does have a mystical element sometimes.
Sure.
Couldn't just, I'll take Thanos. He's going to get Black Maw. You beat up 100 Chitauri soldiers or whatever.
Right.
That would work.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't think they're going to do that.
No, I don't think so either.
Although they do have Wong fighting Abomination in the trailer.
That's
so
true.
If he's going to fight somebody of similar skill, come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
that is true.
Like I said, slightly tortured, but has definitely seen a resurgence recently. I still think it's a little weird that they picked him. I do think that this Let me get all the way through this.
Okay.
I do think this is a diversity hire of sorts.
Okay.
But they didn't have to do this. I think they heard the outcry for Asian representation. And whereas Zack Snyder would just put like a hot Japanese chick holding a clipboard in his movie, Marvel's like, great. All right, great. What do we got? Shang-Chi. What do you think?
Yeah.
Chinese good?
Yeah.
Love Chinese.
Right.
And so they're going to do an entire movie, you know, filled with Aquafina and the guy from Fresh Off the Boat or Kim's Convenience or whatever.
Right.
And they're going for it. And I think that's really great.
No, I think so too.
But I mean, I could have sworn that we would see Tigra, you know, on screen before we saw Shang-Chi, but here we are.
I mean, Tigra is a character that I've at least was familiar with before honestly, before Shang-Chi was announced as a film, I had not heard of the character, I would be perfectly honest about that. So, and Tigra, I'm at least familiar with.
Why are you familiar with Tigra?
Because you say her name all the time.
Oh, that's not exactly familiar, is it?
Well, and more familiar.
She's a rich lady. She's a rich heiress. But what if Paris Hilton could turn into a tiger lady?
Sure.
That's at least a Disney Plus show, right?
Yeah,
Her
right.
name's Greer Grant Nelson.
That's not a great name, but
No, but it's a rich name.
yeah.
Back to Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
And then, of course, most recently, there's a new miniseries, Shang-Chi, written by Jean Lunyang, who's the author of American Born Chinese.
Okay.
And with art by Philip Tan. So
Well, that's awesome.
we're doing it now.
Yeah,
we're
we've
doing
got
it.
Asian creators writing the books, so
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
You're going to avoid some of the things that we're about to talk about.
Yeah, exactly.
What happens in Shang-Chi? Or excuse me, The Master of Kung Fu.
Yeah, so in like basically what you were saying, his dad's really evil, but he just thinks he's tough but fair, and he sends him out, son, you need to kill this guy for me because he's getting in the way of all of my master plans, and you know no red flags going up so far because I mean, to be fair, he's raised.
Oh, bring me his windpipe, by the way.
Yeah, right. He's raised in basically in isolation. He hasn't left his home, you know, and he's like, what, 18, 19? And he's been trained by his dad and other people to be like the world's most deadly assassin.
Right.
So
and
this
we
is
catch
all
him,
he knows.
It's interesting that, and we can't not talk about the movie, I guess, but it's interesting that we catch him in the comic at 19.
Yeah.
Where he's literally just sort of breaking out of his father's influence.
Yeah.
And it appears that in the movie, we'll see him after he's been on Rumspringa or something.
Seems like it.
Or escaped, or maybe he got in a fight and his father's like, you get out of here. But then his father, 10 years later at 29, I guess, comes and tries to track him down.
No, you got to come back now.
It's like they always say, if you love something, hunt it down and kill it.
Right. That's how the saying goes,
That's how
right?
it goes, right?
Yeah.
That's the whole thing.
Yeah. So he's like this one British guy, you got to get him. He's horrible. He gets in the middle of all my plans. So he goes and like there's it's this British guy and he's like in his 90s. Like he is old and he is asleep. And he's like, this is the guy that is getting it. Oh, well, guess I'll just do an assassination.
I know. It's like I could wait 2 seconds and the guy would be dead anyway.
I know. But so he kills that guy and then we see Dennis, I can't remember the rest of his name.
Nayland Smith,
who is the guy you talked about, who is also old, but maybe not as old, and he's in a wheelchair, and he like basically tells him, like, no, your dad is the evil one, and these are all the things that he did, to me and to the guy you just killed. Yeah, look at my legs. The guy who's a sumo wrestler, like, basically, like, turned my bones to liquid and, all this stuff. And he's like, whoa, I gotta think about this. So he leaves and that's when he confronts his mother, and she doesn't really give him a whole lot of information, but, there's just so much that happens in this.
It's only two. The first two, the storyline is just two issues.
Oh, well, I guess. And then I think the second one, that's when he fights his best friend, right?
Yes.
So
okay.
Okay. Yeah. Well, what? You want to take over?
Steve Englehart.
Yeah.
stop. Stop
Yeah.
what you're doing.
Yeah.
Jim Starlin, stop him from doing it.
Yes.
Is a character named Midnight.
Yep.
The character is a black man
Yep.
who was rescued from Africa by Fu Manchu
Yep.
some years ago. Another one of these sort of like foundlings that he's, taken in and trained to do this stuff. And he wears black, all black.
Because apparently his face is very
Yes.
badly
Also,
scarred.
his face was scarred when he was a child.
But we've never seen
Here's
it.
your chance to like pull it off, and it's like there's no scars. That was part of the
Right.
manipulation that the Manchu did. But anyway,
Right.
we never get to that.
No.
Because Shang-Chi kicks him off a crane and kills him.
But
That's it. We set up this nemesis for the character, and boom, he's dead.
He kicks him off a crane, and then we hear a snap.
Yeah,
like
he gets Gwen Stacy. Yeah,
his neck snaps, but it's almost
no
like
capes.
No, but it's almost in a way like where Shang-Chi can be like, well, I didn't kill
really
him.
do
Gravity
it.
killed him.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. The crane killed him. And it's like, it's so cheap. And it's this guy who he, not only did his father say, he grew up with Shang-Chi, and he's basically not only his best friend, he's almost like a brother to him. Like they trained with each other. They went through all this stuff together.
Yeah.
They trusted each other. They considered each other's equals.
And in a book where your main character is a foreigner, he is Chinese,
Yes.
and he is going to encounter, I hope, self-aware racism. Often in the book, you've got this character who is, a black man who is just treated like trash and just thrown away in one issue. Now, to be fair, Midnight does come back.
Oh, good.
Yeah, he gets like the Kree pick him up, and he gets cosmic power, and he fights like the Silver Surfer or something like that. Yeah, it's also not great, but
wow.
But yeah, not really great. But then we move on.
Yeah, then we move on.
The mission is to stop Fu Manchu's devilry in all its forms.
Yeah,
and he actually goes to Sir Dennis had a point. So he goes to meet Sir Dennis, but Sir Dennis is waiting for him in his house, which is like, Arcade would be proud of this house. Like, it's all trapped up and stuff.
Well, he moved to like this British fighter that he's working with. He moved to his house that he had rigged
Blackjack
up.
Tar.
Yeah. And I think Blackjack Tar like actually calls it the murder mansion. It's like very subtle. So yeah, it's just booby traps galore. Arcade would freaking love it. But of course, Shang-Chi can, if he doesn't sense it right away, he can jump out of the way, and he's got really good reflexes. And,
so he overcomes all that, and he fights Blackjack Tar, who's tough, but not that tough.
And he uses gravity again. He throws him from
I
the
like
balcony.
the fact that Starlin or Englehart was like, we want to make sure that like this is the second time I'm defeating a guy by him falling off of something, but it was only like 2 stories, so he's okay.
Yeah, he's alive. They make that clear.
And Smith puts him on the scent.
Yeah.
Because he's like, look, this is my whole life and career. I'm like 90 years old.
Yeah.
And like I've been trying to stop your father from doing all this stuff. So you have to get on this, Kung Fu boy, if you really want to stop him.
Right.
And he sends him to Florida.
I know.
Which for Shang-Chi is like, oh, I haven't been to Florida before. I'm fascinated by all this. We see that he's a gentle soul.
Yeah,
despite
I know, he definitely is.
His lethal weapons attached to his wrists.
He's like, what is this creature? Ah, a lizard.
Yes. And the setup is that like he intercepts a shipment that Fu Manchu is sending out.
Yes.
And it turns out that it's barrels of gasoline that have this hypnotic compound that Fu Manchu uses on people. And the idea is that this will go into the American gas supply and will be, shot out through tailpipes, and it will sort of subdue the American populace. It's kind of like, it's devious. It's a devious idea.
Devious. Is this during the gasoline shortage too?
Well, it's probably just after. But
okay.
Yeah.
But so that would probably be pretty prevalent on people's minds too.
Yeah. Topical.
Yes. Yeah. But it's like makes people suggest like easily what's the word? Like impressionable. So he can get people to do what they want. And
like the guy that he sends to kill Shang-Chi after they capture him.
Well, and Shang-Chi gets a pretty good whiff of it too, which is not
great.
Yeah.
So he's kind of like out of it, but like he fights at the beginning of the episode. He goes to what he knows is Fu Manchu's headquarters in New York, which is disguised to look like a normal building, but inside looks like old China.
Sensitive.
Don't get the buffet at old China.
Yeah.
You don't want that.
No.
And he fights a guy who is he's a strangler.
Yeah.
He's got like a silken cord that he strangles you with.
Yeah.
So then he meets this guy later on in Florida, and the guy's like, I'm sorry that I failed to kill him the first time, Fu Manchu. And Fu Manchu's like, don't worry about it. Come here. I'm going to try my thing out. He puts the stuff on him, and the guy goes, and the stuff drives the guy crazy.
Yeah.
And so they, start fighting, and Shang-Chi's like, I don't know if I'm going to get out of this.
I know.
This is rough.
Yeah,
this guy's beating the crap out of me.
It makes him stronger too.
Yeah, but also insane. The guy eventually sets his own head on fire and then like jumps off a cliff.
Yeah, because he wants to die because it's too painful. Yeah.
And which leads to this. The potential of this is immense, and I know that like Marvel's going to do the right thing by giving us they're going to Black Panther this thing. They're going to give us a movie that is 99%, Asian actors and representation. Yeah. It's going to be sensitive to stuff.
Yes.
But they're going to dumb it all down in the Marvel style. They're going to make it all boring.
Yeah.
Because in this issue, after a guy nearly beats him to death, sets himself on fire, and jumps off a cliff, Shang-Chi frees himself from the bonds, grabs the torch, does a front flip off of the same cliff, throws the torch through the open hatch into the hold of the ship where the gasoline is. The ship blows up.
Yes.
And Shang-Chi hits the water. And it's like, to see that scene in a movie.
Yeah.
That's so cinematic.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really cool.
And Fu Manchu's like, crap. That was a good plan.
He just blew up my plan.
Crap.
Like literally.
It gets weird after this because when they went to Florida, I knew what was going to happen. I knew that we were going to see the Man-Thing.
Okay.
Another
the Man-Thing is
70s
weird.
character.
Yeah.
Which is legally distinct from the Swamp Thing, even though he's also a thing.
Not really. Does the Swamp Thing talk?
Actually, I think Man-Thing might have come first. Don't check my math on that.
Okay.
Swamp Thing talks. Man-Thing does not.
Man-Thing does not talk.
But I'll tell you one thing.
Yeah.
All those who know fear burn at the touch of the Man-Thing.
That was kind of terrifying.
Yes.
So Shang-Chi does not know fear. So even though he tussles with Man-Thing, he does not explode into flames.
Yes. He's not afraid.
Yeah. So like Shang-Chi like murders people or very badly injures them or causes them to die.
Yeah. Like a guy attacks him with a knife. Frogmen attack him, and one of them's got a knife.
Yeah.
And like the guy falls on his knife, and Shang-Chi's like,
I feel like we see that a lot in like action movies these days where like somebody like accidentally kills themselves,
Well, yeah, and it happens, if we skip ahead, like it happens when he gets attacked on the crime lord's boat.
Yeah.
And the assassin's sword like goes through the crime lord's girlfriend. And so now the crime lord's like, I'm going to kill this guy.
Yep.
And so he goes and tries to kill Shang-Chi, and he's like, you killed my girlfriend. He's like, you set those events in motion when you hired people to kill me. I didn't throw that sword. You
I
did.
know. I have a question,
which is,
though.
Sophistry, but whatever.
I know. Like, does it count as fridging if like it's a bad guy who gets fridged or a bad guy's significant other that gets fridged and then the bad guy's like, ooh, I'm going to get you? Or is that only for heroes? Because that's essentially what happens. Like he wasn't very nice to his girlfriend. She wants to have sex with him and he basically punches her or slaps her in the face and is like, not now, woman. Yeah. And and then she gets stabbed in the stomach and that's her entire role.
That's her arc.
Yeah.
Blunted.
I hate it.
But not too blunt. Pretty sharp.
Yeah. It's her and like Shang-Chi's mother are like the only female characters.
This is all in Miami.
I know.
In the Everglades, he does run into the Man-Thing for no good reason other than just to like
have
jam
the Man-Thing
in there.
Yeah.
But he does meet a mysterious man named Lu Sun.
I'm assuming this character comes back at some point.
I don't know, but I do know that apparently his looks, except for his mustache, was based on Kwai Chang from Kung Fu.
Oh.
So they wanted to kind of slip David Carradine in there.
Interesting.
Anyway.
Okay.
But yeah. But all this time he's being hunted by these two other Kung Fu assassins who are like tracking him through the swamp. And it's the sort of thing that, like, the thing about Kung Fu is, all these wuxia things, everybody's got their own style. It's like, I use my thumbs to tickle people's butts, and that kills them, or whatever. Or like, my tongue, I have the strongest tongue.
Right.
It's iron tongue.
Right.
Kung Fu. These guys, like, like, one guy's, like, good at throwing things or something, but another guy's, like, really good at, like, impressions, I guess. So, Shang-Chi's hiding from them, and he hears them coming, and he's like, they're over there. But then he gets snuck up from behind, because the one guy was, like, doing the other guy's voice. And
he's having a whole conversation.
Yeah. We never saw that scene, but that would have been kind of funny.
But it would have been, because we were told that's what happened. Yeah. That's right. But those are the guys that get it, because they do know fear, and they were fighting with Man-Thing, and they just die.
Yeah. But
horrible deaths.
Shang-Chi didn't do it.
No, right. See, this is what I'm talking about. His hands are clean.
Not guilty.
Not guilty. That one guy, he was guilty, but because he talked to Dennis about it, he's square now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways.
He was old.
Yeah.
He didn't have a family.
Apparently not.
Yeah, so he gets back to Miami, and apparently, like, this drug lord just hears that, on the grapevine that Fu Manchu is looking for his son, so he
kill him.
gets involved.
Yeah.
And then yada, yada, yada. Obviously, they don't kill Shang-Chi, but we get to the end of the story, and Fu Manchu shows up and basically, like, kills that guy, and he's like, don't try to kill my son for me. I'll do that if I want to.
Like, only I get to kill my son.
And just sort of leaves, Shang-Chi sort of lay it out, and he's like, your life is mine. You die when I say you die.
Yeah, right. It's interesting.
Tony Leon's going to be so good in that role.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's like, I think so too. I mean, I can appreciate that, like, now he has this thing where, he's, like, got this new goal in life to stop his father from doing whatever he's doing. And, like, he's very capable, so he doesn't need, like, a whole team of people to work with him, and also I could see, like, growing up in isolation with only your father and other people training you, maybe you have trust issues too, which didn't really focus on a whole lot, but I could see that being a thing.
No, he has reached a level of, like, Zen Buddhism, despite being raised by the world's most evil man. Apparently, like, the teachings still work. Whoever you decide to follow is your problem. But, like, the teachings of, oneness with all things and being centered, like, he knows all that.
That's true.
And that's what sort of, I guess it would have been interesting, and they didn't write comics like this back then, because you didn't know if you were going to go on at all. But if you introduced this character whole cloth and planned to go on, you would probably have a period of Shang-Chi learning to control his rages and the impulses that he's, been given by his father to be violent and to do bad things.
Right. He wouldn't necessarily be such a gentle soul from the beginning.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the movie, he's going to be a party dude, but he's got to learn that party duding is not what he's going to do.
It's not everything. Sometimes family comes first. Gosh dang it. And yeah, I don't know. It seems like his mother, from what I've seen from the trailer, I don't think his mother is American.
Well, I mean, she might have American
she might be. Yeah,
but,
that's true.
Yeah.
But, I think I get the sense that his mother's no longer alive, though, from the trailers. So,
what a good reason to kill your father,
right?
So anyway, it's interesting that it's a character who, at least initially, is so defined by his relationship with this other character.
Yes.
I mean, sure, Batman and the Joker, tussle forever, but hold on, the Penguin's online too. Hold on, I'm just going to fight purse snatchers this week or whatever.
Right.
Like, he's got a thing, but, like, Shang-Chi has a rogues gallery of one.
Pretty much.
And it's his father, basically.
Yeah, so what happens when he kills his father? Like, who else is there to fight? I guess Midnight comes back and
you're just
Midnight.
assuming because it's a Marvel movie that we absolutely have to kill the bad guy?
I mean, if his dad gets away somehow, that would be interesting, wouldn't it? But I do kind of assume that they're going to try to kill him. I think it'd be more interesting not to. Like, maybe Shang-Chi thinks he kills him, but it turns out he didn't really, or something like that. And he'll show up later, and I'll have to fight him again.
How will this film, this is the only time we'll be able to talk about it, because we'll have seen it the next time we're here.
Yes.
How will this film draw from or pay tribute to the the wuxia and kung fu films of old? Because already I can see, I think Awkwafina's going to fill this role, but they don't have a goofy character. There's always a goofy character.
Yeah.
They trained him wrong on purpose or whatever. He's got funny kung fu. It doesn't seem like we're going to have that.
I don't think we are, because I don't necessarily get the sense that she is necessarily trained, at least at the beginning of the movie, on how to do like martial arts.
And plus, she'll just do funny Awkwafina bits.
Yeah.
She's got a million of those.
Yeah.
She's all set.
Yeah. I hope that it films the action in such a way that we get the sense of really what's going on. And because I think a lot of the, the Hong Kong martial arts films, the way that they filmed the action, you could see everything. And it's almost like the camera... I guess I'm realizing I heard somebody else say this, but it's almost like the camera is like, a part of the scene too. But I just hope that it is filmed in such a way, like either the director or they bring somebody else in, that you can tell what's going on and but it's not just action for action's sake. It's like part of the story, and it builds upon what's happening with the characters. I think that's one of the best ways that they could do that.
Well, don't get too excited.
Okay.
Because the fight coordinator is Andy Chang.
Okay.
And he is a guy who has worked on films like Rush Hour.
Oh boy.
Rush Hour 2.
Okay.
Shanghai Noon.
All right.
I don't know about Shanghai Nights. Who Am I? American Jackie Chan films, basically.
Okay. All right.
The Bionic Woman TV series.
Okay.
Into the Badlands. A lot of people like Into the Badlands.
Maybe.
So they didn't get Corey Yang Ping or anything like that. They didn't go out and get anybody that you would get for this. It's funny that we've talked about how Simu Liu, good for him, is like pulled from semi-obscurity to be in this. But usually they're like, oh, who won the Oscar this year? Get him.
Right.
There's our Tigra.
Right.
They didn't do that with the fight choreographer. It seems like they just went with like, who's available and who's kind of semi-cheap.
Yeah.
Maybe he's not cheap. I mean, Shanghai Noon.
Maybe he's gotten better. I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see as far as that goes.
The incredible Burt Wonderstone.
Oh my goodness. Well, what about you? How do you think they can kind of pay tribute?
Although he did work with Sammo Hung on martial law for 21 episodes.
Oh my gosh.
Although I know that show ran for more than 21 episodes.
Oh my goodness.
So, did he get fired?
No, I don't know. Maybe he just decided he was done.
So anyway, I'm sure it's fine.
Yeah.
But it would have been nice for a movie that's literally like, it's cool when like Cap can punch a guy in a cool way. But for a thing that's literally all he does is just punch people.
Yes.
He's a character from a comic book born out of the existence of kung fu movies. Like it's a snake throwing up its own tail. And so it would have been nice if we could have like just gone out and just found a real classic.
A ringer.
Yeah. Who's the guy who's going to make this look good?
Yeah, exactly. Well, how do you think they can play a tribute to...
I just said it.
Okay.
It was that, but they're not doing it.
Okay.
I think they've got a lot. I think they're biting off a lot and chewing it.
I think so too.
I think that it worked, I think, for the most part with Black Panther.
Mm-hmm.
I think an easy thing to have done past perfect participle for Black Panther would be, I'm just a guy. What? I'm a prince? I'm a little Coming to America, or wait, no. King Ralph, maybe? I don't know.
Right.
Coming to America 2. Coming to America.
Right.
And then like, oh, we're going to show you a little bit of Wakanda, but really it's about you, like, playing b-ball in Oakland. Like, But like they don't do anything small. And so they had to go off and go, okay, we need to invent like a fake but convincing like African tribe. We need to invent like a future African city that looks like if we took African architecture and then, we fast forwarded 1,000 years.
Right.
And that all worked. This movie's got a lot to fill because it's got to give us the funky kung fu vibes.
Yes.
But it's got to also update that aesthetic. It also seems like it's going to pay homage to the true wuxia films of the Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Yeah.
The Iron Monkey type stuff with long thin swords and fighting in a temple because they're going to have flashback scenes. They're going to do that. They're doing a lot here. And also it has to present something that I think audiences understand, but like the current Asian American modern experience as well.
And I think also
they went to the buffet and they filled that plate up.
Yeah.
And they put another plate on top and then kept going.
And I think, right, exactly. And I think also something else they're trying to do is make it appealing to China itself and to...
I don't just have one line where Shang-Chi's like, I don't know about this Taiwan. And then we move on.
Oh my God. Wow. Yeah. So I think that they've definitely updated his...
One of the reasons I love Awkwafina so much is her social capital score is so high.
Oh my God, stop it. I think they definitely have updated his look. Like he looks, his Shang-Chi's look in this is very
He's
70s.
not going to wear pajamas. Yeah.
I know, but he's got like the bandana and then like the very red outfit. And I mean, I think red is supposed to be an auspicious color. That's not a big deal. But like the yin yang sign on the back.
Yeah.
Which also like, I don't know if this is just me or like overthinking it or what have you, but I always thought that like it's better if the yin yang symbol like that it's like curved from top to bottom.
I guarantee Al Milgram has no idea.
Okay. Yeah. It just seemed like it was on its side.
He just went to the corner store and he was getting lunch for the bullpen and he's like, oh yeah, okay.
I could put that on the costume.
Drew it. Didn't know which way up it was supposed to go.
Didn't think about it too much. Yeah.
But this movie will.
Yeah. So
looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to it too. And I hope that they do accomplish, what you were talking about and they do what Black Panther did for Wakanda and even though it's not a real country but for African culture and Black culture and like having Asian Americans specifically and Asians be featured in a really prominent way.
I agree.
Yeah.
When in the sequel do we get like the do we do like a riff on Enter the Dragon?
Oh boy. I mean, how would you do that? Like, don't we see like him fighting? Like we see like some sort of dragon
Have him go to an island.
Yeah.
There's a tournament.
Yeah.
Then how do you update like a Jim Kelly? Now I want to see them combine the Black Panther and the Shang-Chi and do like Black Belt Jones, do the blaxploitation kung fu films.
Okay. Okay. All right. I mean, you could do that, right?
I have not seen either of the Shaft sequels. I know there's a ton of sequels to the original movie. I mean, like the Samuel Jackson, and then they just made a new Shaft a couple years ago.
No, I haven't either.
And so I don't know like what the current line is on like updating blaxploitation.
Good question.
Outside of like Barbershop 2 or whatever.
Right.
But anyway, does Marvel have a take on that?
Yeah.
Because their take was pretty dark and serious. We talked about Luke Cage already.
Yeah. It wasn't. There was no fun to be had with Luke Cage, unfortunately.
Luke Cage doesn't
for
have
better
fun.
for worse. Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Put that guy in a silk shirt. All right, well, that's our story about Shang-Chi.
Yes.
looking forward to the film. Obviously, we didn't even talk about whether you recommend it or not. I guess, would you recommend it?
I mean, yes, but I mean, I think you have to keep in mind when it was written, because there is a lot of racial stuff in it that it's just would not fly today.
Yeah, and I would just recommend it if you've never read any Marvel 70s stuff. Then we've talked about a couple things, like you can read Werewolf by Night. 70 Spider-Man obviously is good. Not exactly what we're talking about.
No.
Shang-Chi or the Doug. How do you say his name? Munch?
I don't know.
Let's say Doug Munch, Moon Knight stuff.
Sure.
Marvel in the 70s that's the House of Ideas. Do you know what I mean? That's when they were making it happen. So I would recommend it for that. Don't expect to see a lot of this stuff make it to the screen, though, if you're trying to find something that, gives you that modern feel. I would do the Brubaker stuff or later, or the new ongoing series.
Right.
If you want to get that. But yeah, for sure. A little nunchuck action.
Yeah.
Get out there.
I mean, it seems like in this, he probably already knows that his dad is not great. Maybe he'll learn more in the film.
Yes.
But he already has an idea that he's not going out for my first assassination.
Well, every character must fight somebody who is older and also does what they do in a Marvel film.
Yes.
And so we've already got that set up.
That's true.
That is ready to go.
Yep.
People blame Marvel for that. Or MC, Kevin Feige, the Marvel cinematic, edifice. But, isn't that just
fighting
in stories?
superhero movies?
Definitely in comics.
Yeah.
Isn't that just, one of the things that you can fight on the road of trials in Campbellian story structure is the father figure?
Yes. I think that people are mad because they feel like that happens a lot in Marvel.
Yeah, right. But, that happens in stories.
I agree.
Get mad about that.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you want ladies to fight mother figures, then I guess you need to write those stories. So
Captain Marvel did that.
Yeah, of course she did. So
Black Widow kind of did that, but then made friends.
Yeah.
That's a weird movie. Let's not talk about it anymore. Let's talk about our social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Go there. Just Enough Trope. Find us. Good times. Also, subscribe to the show on your listening platform of choice if you haven't, because we need you to line up. Become part of the Merry Marvel Marching Society.
Ooh.
Or in this case, in the 70s, it was the FOOM, the Friends of Only Marvel, or something like that.
Okay.
And so, yeah.
Sounds ominous.
Be that for us.
Yeah.
We'll work on our club.
Okay.
And we'll put that into some t-shirts or something. But anyway, taking suggestions for that. But yeah, subscribe to the show. Give us a review. Give us a rating. We'd really appreciate it. Give us 5 drops of mimosa.
Oh yeah, that's what his hallucinogenic drug is called, is mimosa. And I was like, unlimited bottomless mimosas. Here you go.
Yes.
Yeah.
that give me control over you.
Yeah,
White
exactly.
women.
Yeah. Oh,
You're 3 times faster. Do my bidding. Yeah,
Get back to brunch.
Mimosa is a butterfly, right? So that's where that comes from.
Okay.
But,
All
yeah.
right.
But anyway, it's also a plant. But yeah, give us 5 stars. We'd appreciate that. We'll be back next week to talk about Shang-Chi, the film.
Yes.
And the Legend of the Ten Rings. And until then, we're signing off. I'm your host, Caliban.
I'm your co-host, Mikan Hana.
Keep the geek fires burning.